Warning, this is the calm before the storm. Right now, this moment in time for Bitcoin, this moment in time for the entire cryptocurrency industry, including your favorite altcoins, this right here, this moment is the calm before the storm. Take a look at this chart. Bitcoin's volatility has just dropped to one of its lowest levels in history. And what's happened other times we've dropped to our lowest levels of volatility in history? Well, look right here, 2013, one of the lowest levels of volatility in history, the calm before the storm, happened right before an enormous explosion in price. But that wasn't the only time. We had two other times in 2016. This right here, the calm before the storm, was the huge move from phase one of the bull right into phase two of the bull. And by the way, this drop below in volatility was the huge move at the end of phase two, right before the parabolic phase three. We did it again. 2019, one of the lowest levels in history in volatility for Bitcoin, happened right after the market bottom and right before the huge explosion in price from about 3,000 all the way up to 14,000. These are not little tiny kid moves. These are big boy moves, and this is the calm before the storm, and we're about to break down what we believe is about to happen in Bitcoin. If you're new here to the channel, welcome in. My name is Steve. On this channel, we don't take any paid ads, no paid sponsorships, no paid affiliate links down below. What we do instead, we talk about the cold, hard facts in the charts that actually help you. The only thing that I ask in return from you is to hit that subscribe button and put a thumbs up. That's it. Hit that subscribe button, put a thumbs up, and let's jump straight into the video. We are on the Bitcoin US dollar index and we're on the weekly chart. Above we have price action and below we have the historical volatility. Now this is a custom indicator. It takes the NVT and the historical volatility, it combines them as if they had a baby, and this is what we have in front of us right now. Here's what I have to say. We're going to talk about the calm before the storm, and then there is a bigger storm brewing, one that is even bigger than all the ones that I just explained with this historical volatility. I'm about to explain something even more monumental at the end of the video, which has to do with the historical volatility, something that you're going to be relatively shocked when I tell you. But let's break down the calm before the storm. If you've ever been to the beach, and I've lived at a lot of beaches in a whole bunch of different countries, and I can tell you one thing, it's windy at the beach. But when you go out to the beach and it's that calm and there's no wind and it feels like you can hear a pin drop, I guarantee there's a storm coming the next day or the next couple days. That's the calm before the storm. Right here, right before our eyes, Bitcoin is doing that precise thing. So the historical volatility is what we're talking about. We just dipped below this 30 level in the historical volatility. You can see our head dipping below right now. Luckily for us, we just did this recently, back in August. Right? Back in August, we dipped our head, one of the lowest volatilities, and guess what? It was right when that move at the end of phase one of the bull and right into phase two. So we moved from 25K all the way up way into the 40Ks. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe, because the calm before the storm. And that move from phase one, the end of phase one into phase two, is the exact same things we did here, right? Case in point, take a look. 2016. By the way, we've been following these moves pound for pound, move for move. This is another angle saying exactly the same thing. Take a look. 2016, phase one of the bull is here. When we were finished with phase one of the bull, towards the tail end, the calm before the storm, we dipped our head below this historical volatility, letting us know, hey, wake the hell up. Big move coming. We woke the hell up and we skyrocketed into phase two of the bull, right? That's exactly what we just did. Exactly what we just did. This move in the historical volatility came right at the tail end of phase one of the bull and happened right as we skyrocketed in price from phase 1 to phase 2. Now we're looking at this one, right? Here we are, sometime later. Well, how long later? Well, in 2016, it was roughly 100 days between moving down and having that second one move down. And where are we today? Roughly 100 days. So it's that exact move that we can expect for Bitcoin. One that will take the world by storm. But here we are, right? We are in phase 2. There's no denying that now. A lot of people still want to say, oh, this is going to happen, that. But you can't argue with the facts. The facts are the facts. We build every single market structure of every single phase the exact same way, and we've done it for 12 years, all right? So there's no denying the facts. Phase 1 is built directly on top of our resistance during the bear market. Phase 1 is built directly on top of our resistance in the bear market. Phase 1 is built directly on top of our resistance in the bear market. Phase 1 is built directly on top of our resistance in the bear market. And guess what? Phase 2 is built directly on top of phase 1. It's that simple. So here we are today. And we've got our phases. We're understanding that we better take a look at this move right here, right? We're in that same exact sort of time. And our historical volatility stayed below for an enormous amount of time, about 100-ish days. This was the longest time in Bitcoin's history in 2016 that we stayed below with the calm before the storm. It was a long calm before the storm, and we may be doing precisely the same move right before our eyes. But when we finally popped our head back through that 30-ish level, that's when we skyrocketed into the third phase of the bull run. And the third phase is quite a parabolic phase. Okay, so we are not yet in phase 3 of the bull. We had just started phase 2. We're about 70-ish days in, and things are heating up. So what we can expect, I'm going to get into what we can expect, and then more importantly, I want to get into something that is significantly bigger, a much bigger impact than what you see in front of you here, right? What I'm talking about is much bigger than the calm before the storm. It's a much larger storm brewing. Some would say that storm has been brewing for 11 years and it's about to burst. I'll share that with you here in a couple moments. But let's start to break down what we see happening here, right? You can see that recently we came down to about the 22 level, which we got a little bit lower in 2019, and we even got a little bit lower than that in 16. We got it down to about 15 in the year of 2016. This is that gap when we are down below here for about 100-ish days. We are looking to have something similar happen before our eyes. But when we peek our head back above this level, that is when we had signals that we were entering phase 3 of the bull, and that would be very exciting times for Bitcoin. But now let's get to the bigger thing here, something that is making me very, very nervous and proceed with caution, and something that kind of ties in to a few different theories that I've been presenting here based on just pure facts in the charts. What we have at the bottom of our screen is the historical volatility. Now, the historical volatility are all of these levels here. What you do not know about is the colors, the red and the green. This is based on our NVT, HV combine signals, right? So to keep it very, very simple, we have a formation happening. This is a formation that's been happening for more than 10 years, where we have a breakout to our high, came back down to retest our base, a breakout to our high, which made it a lower high, and came back down to retest that same base. And yet again, an explosion to another high, but again, yet another lower high, consistently having a high and a lower high and another lower high while retesting the same exact base. And yet again in 21, another lower high, and yet again in 22 and 23, another lower high. And here we are today in this squeeze pattern here. This is a pressure cooker, and this is going to burst. This is a 10 or 11 year storm that's about to burst. It's not the calm before a storm. It's this huge storm that's just going to explode and obliterate into pieces. Now, I have to tell you this. This is a descending triangle. Descending triangles by nature have the same base and a retest of continuous lower highs. You need at least 3 touch points at the bottom, which we have probably 15. You need at least 3 touch points on the top, which we have way more than 3. This is a descending triangle. I hate to break it to you, but the high majority of these break to the downside, which means we are at historical low volatility as we speak. As you're watching this video, this is historical low volatility, but that would be nothing in comparison to if this breaks to the downside. If this breaks to the downside and we look at our indicator here, we can go into the negatives with our volatility. And some may say, well, I don't think we can. Look at the chart. We are at, this is a 30, right? And now we're getting to roughly 0. 0 is roughly right here. We can still go into the negatives all the way up to like negative 60. I have to make this point very, very clear, because some people are under the impression that Bitcoin's going to go to 1 million or 2 million or 500,000 or whatever the crazy number is, and like have all of these, you know, historic events with just groundbreaking numbers. I do not believe that's going to happen based on facts in the charts. There's my 5.3 theory, which is calling for roughly an 80K, 79K top. And I told you about a potential sideways market for multiple years. I think the sideways market would have to start in 21 when we had our double top, and it would move sideways for that. It could be at most 10 years. So you go from 21 to say 31. But again, a lot of things would have to line up in the charts for me to even consider it. And this is one. We have a descending triangle on our historical volatility. I mean, we have to wake up at some point and be like, okay, we better trust the charts a little bit. This could be a real thing where Bitcoin goes into a quiet phase for 1 or 2 cycles and people give up on crypto. And this has a rejuvenation for the market. It builds incredibly healthy market structure for the future. And then this whole 15-year cycle repeats, where we start to have an explosion phase, and then it gets a little bit weaker and a little bit weaker and a little bit weaker. And then we do this whole cycle again, and then another 15-year cycle. So what I believe might be in the cards based on this is a quiet period for the next 5-7 years where we struggle with price, we struggle with our volatility. The market is incredibly healthy because of that, and then the whole 15-year cycle repeats, and we have an absolute explosion, you know, late in this decade, early next decade, and we have a next 15 years of ridiculous growth, which definitely will get us to $1 million Bitcoin. But standing in the way is a crypto winter unlike anything we've ever seen. Again, this is a potential, but there's multiple charts starting to line up that say this could be a real thing. So I wanted to bring it to your attention, and I want to ask you a key question. We just entered a new year. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm having another baby. It's going to be this month. I'm going to try like hell to make videos, but you know, having a birth is very important. I remember the day my son was born. I was still working on that day in the hospital. So hopefully I'm a little bit better structured this time, but I'm going to bring you content as fast as I can. And I ask you one question. As we enter this new year, what is one thing you want to see me do more of with our videos, and one thing you want to see me do less of? And more importantly, if you have ideas like, hey, Steve, I've never seen you do this kind of video, I'd love to see that. Put that in the comments. I'm going to read every single one. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you right here back on the next video. Peace and love to the fellow underdogs. This bull run is our road to 500,000 subscribers, but I need your help. Today, tell one person about our YouTube channel. how we spit facts, go against the herd, take no paid sponsorships of any kind. Road to $500,000, let's go.